not being surrounded by wealth, you just learn to appreciate, nature and the really kind of interesting things.
Dan with Dan, Dan with Jen, Dan with Dan, Dan with Dan, Dan with Jen.
Paul Nix, welcome to 10 with Jen, where I ask 10 out of 10s like yourself 10 questions in around 10 minutes to get to know you in a fun way.
Looking forward to it. I've watched a few. Like that, it's pretty much more personal than some of the other stuff I've done. So as long as you're not going to hammer me about commission rates and prices and shit, I think we're going to have a good time.
Yeah, we're not talking about any of that today. So let's start with a little bit about you. Paul Nix is the VP of Domain Investors at GoDaddy, where he leads the aftermarket division, including product sales, support, and business development. Leveraging more than 15 years at GoDaddy in various roles, Paul has been instrumental in shaping the company's offerings for domain investors. He holds a Bachelor of Science in Information Technology from Capella University and an MBA from W.P. Carey School of Business at Arizona State University. A Houston native, once who lived on a sailboat, Paul is a passionate sports fan, outdoor enthusiast, and pickleball player. He loves traveling to experience new cultures and is a proud family man with 2 college-bound sons. How are you, Paul?
I am doing well. Good recap there.
So, Paul, are you ready for your 10 with Jen?
Absolutely. Lay it on me.
Number 1, Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat?
Oh, gosh. I always like Street Fighter in the stand-up consoles.
Yeah.
Mortal Kombat, I liked it on like I suppose it was the NES or whichever system it was back in the day.
Yeah.
But when I went to the arcade, it was always Street Fighter. So yeah, that's going to be the answer.
Hadouken.
That's right.
Having seen so much private domain sales data for over a decade, if you became a domain investor tomorrow, how would you approach it?
Funny enough, I don't like to give advice on buying names because I think other people, including Braden, are a heck of a lot better at it than I am. Having the data and seeing the data and being able to take that and forecast correctly in the future is not what I do well. So I think that what I continue to see is the good names that we all understand are good names, which would be the shorts, the pronounceable, things like that. They don't lose value. Yeah. Even names that were sold once in the aftermarket and then resold, I rarely see a good name be resold for less than what the original sale was. So I think that domains that have true long-lasting value, and they're not going to be the fad names or the quick turn names, but the names that are really valuable and conceivably will be part of an industry that exists in 20, 30, 900 years, whatever. Those names are not going to generally go down in value. So that's what I would say is invest in quality. If it means fewer names, then so be it. But you have a much less likelihood of losing money on those.
Since you went to space camp as a kid, I have to ask, if you were to join an interplanetary mission, what role would you play in building a new society on another planet?
I love my space camp stories, and I had just a blast doing that. When we did every space camp team gets together, and then you actually like simulate a space launch, and I was the pilot of this particular thing, and I got to do the yaw and the pitch and all. It was awesome.
Wow.
I'm not good at that in real life, so I wouldn't do that. But I would say I am an engineer at heart. I think I am fairly logical in how I approach things, and I enjoy problem solving. So my role would be something on the engineering side, problem solving side. I'm thinking Matt Damon in The Martian is right up my alley. Go find a problem and fix it.
Yep.
Find another problem, fix it.
And make lots of potatoes.
Potatoes, that's right.
Favorite Stephen King book?
Oh, that's easy. Just completely addicted to the Dark Tower series. Okay. So love Stephen King, and I've read a lot of his stuff. Actually, there's one I just downloaded to my Kindle to start reading tonight, actually. But I've read through the entirety of the Dark Tower series probably 5 or 6 times. Oh, wow. And it's fantastic. I've gotten so far off the ledge on it. I'm collecting like first editions and signed of just that series. Wow. So just love that series. And I don't know really why. I read the first one, The Gunslingers, the first book. I read that one early teen years, and it probably just stuck with me. And since it was actually one of the first novels that Stephen King wrote, it's an interesting way to sort of tie his entire career together. You read The Gunslinger, it's kind of raw, but you can tell there's something there. And then as he gets into like books 4 and 5, he's a much more accomplished author, 30 years down the road or whatever. And then so he's writing these now all of a sudden looking back as a much older man and trying to tie together a story he started when he was in his 20s. It's really interesting.
What is the most terrifying animal?
So only animal I've ever been afraid of is a Doberman Pinscher. So the one specific breed of dog, when I was about 5 or 6 years old, got bit on the ass by a Doberman, terrified, again, sort of like core memory unlocked. I don't like the colors, so I don't like the Rottweilers, which are just big Dobermans, even the little Pinschers, which are like small Dobermans, but the brown and black Doberman kind of dog is absolutely the only animal that I am still afraid of.
With your love for the outdoors and activities like camping, hiking, and sports, what's one adventure on your bucket list that you'd love to check off?
Oh man, I'm going through my bucket list as much as I can. I am sad to say that I have not seen the Northern Lights yet. So we figure in December in Iceland in 2023, the end of 2023, beginning of 2024, was supposed to be like ideal time to see the Northern Lights. And we go there and it's cloudy and hazy the entire time we're there. Now, Iceland itself is gorgeous. There's a volcano going on at the time, so kind of the sky was sort of red. Loved that trip, but I've still not seen the Northern Lights. So one of those things I've just gonna have to. Maybe it's an Alaska cruise, maybe it's going to Norway. I don't know, but it will happen.
Last meal.
I am a fairly simple guy. A steak, very large baked potato, and a Guinness. I think give me those 3 things, and I am super happy.
How has traveling shaped your view of the world and changed the way you live your life?
I've just traveled from the beginning. You brought up I lived on a boat. I learned how to walk on a sailboat when I was 2 years old. So I've always just been part of this sort of a transient nature of things. And I think that in talking to people who don't do a lot of travel, even amongst the states in the United States, but certainly not to places more different, like European countries, etc. It helps build an empathy that I think is really important to be just kind of called a good citizen of the world. I don't know, a non-haughty way to say it, other than to say that understanding that the way you live and the environment you're in today is unique to you, and even the microculture of your environment, like my little suburb versus people in downtown, it's so different. And unless you truly immerse yourself, you can't understand anybody else's point of view. And the biggest part of empathy is understanding somebody's point of view. And, with empathy and with understanding, or at least being able to open yourself up to taking a different point of view than what you're used to, then you get to the point where the arrogance goes away and some of the vices kind of go away a bit more. So that's certainly how I changed my life is by going on trips and seeing how other people do things. And, a lot of it's sanitized still because I'm staying at nice hotels and nice places, but it is opening yourself up to doing something different and to experiencing a different culture, experiencing just a different way of being is super important and shaped really everything I've done for the past many years.
Well, I need to apologize for this next question, but I have to ask you.
I like the wind-ups. Like, here we go. Here comes the fastball.
Okay. Paul. This is so dumb. You're stranded on an island with the Sherpas. Who would you eat first?
That is such an odd question. I think, I think, and I'll walk you through my thought process here.
Okay. Yes, please.
So I think that JT would be the most obvious for, call it, nutritional value, right?
Yeah.
But he's bigger than me. And so I don't think I want to start with somebody bigger than me because I may need help to subdue the others. So if I had JT on my side, then I would have help in subduing the others. So I'm going to have to say Shane can outrun me. It's going to have to be Braden. I'm just going to say that he lives well and eats well. He'd probably be really nutritious, not a lot of fat there.
Yeah.
But I think if we're trapped on an area where he can't outrun me too much, then it would have to be him first.
You once stated you were dirt floor poor growing up. How did that shape your view on success and what truly matters in life?
Oh, man. It's perspective. The great thing about being poor as a kid, so I haven't been an adult who's seen money and then gotten poor. I think that would be far worse. As a kid, you don't know you're poor.
Right,
you just you're living life. So we lived on a small sailboat. There were four of us, and it was what I would describe as dirt floor poor. It was just only on water. But we had our fun. We enjoyed time. We went to the library to read books or do whatever. Both parents would work, and so after school, I'd walk to the library, and the library was my babysitter for the hours until they got off of work. And you make do. You just don't know any better. And then you once you experience some success later on, that maybe the tastes don't change. Like I've never really been one for really expensive stuff because that's not something that I learned at an early age was a status symbol. Because my friends and myself, we were all in the same, like even when we were in Naples, we were on the east side of Naples, which was the working class side. So we had what we had, and the things that we idolized was the kid who got the NES first, or some of those more, call it moderate exposure things. So now that as an adult, I've been able to have some money now, and it's just I've got a pickup truck. I really like my pickup truck, but I don't really. I don't have anything beyond that because I don't need anything beyond that. So I think that's really what it is how you grow up helps to shape the things that you find desirable, maybe, or the lifestyle you find desirable. And for me, the lifestyle I find desirable is being surrounded by friends and family in a nice, cozy place like what we have behind me in my virtual cabin, which is I'm gonna retire here someday. I'm gonna find it. I don't know where it is, but I'm gonna find this and retire here someday. This is my dream. My dream isn't like some big mansion on a beach. This is my dream, is a cabin looking over windows. So I think that is really, when you grow up not being surrounded by wealth, you just learn to appreciate nature and the really kind of interesting things.
Paul, thank you for your time today. You've now been 10 with Jen.
Awesome, fantastic. That was fun.
Oh man, like I don't know what, I don't even have words. I can't believe this is my life, Paul. Anyway,